Unfortunately, if you guys have spent any amount of time on Twitter lately, you would have seen that our comrade in the gender revolution, Eden Knight, has passed, unfortunately. I am doing my best to kind of schedule my thoughts with this. Before she took her life, she wrote a twitlonger, which we will go through right now. Hi, if you're reading this, I've already killed myself. We are going to be reading all of this, unfortunately, so insert whatever trigger warnings you need, but I feel like this is a very necessary conversation to have. I've given my life every opportunity. I have given myself every chance to get better, but I couldn't do it. I wasn't strong enough. I don't think there was a universe where I was ever strong enough to survive this. Why? Sometime in the summer, I was contacted by Michael Pocolico, cybersecurity guy, through an IRL friend who claimed he was a fixer and wanted to fix the issue that was between me and my parents. We'll be talking a little bit more about Michael Pocolico and his relationship with her parents. Soda, I need you on your best behavior right now. P's and Q's. I thought this was impossible. I'm transgender, and they are strict conservative Muslims. But I decided I would give it a shot because it can't hurt, right? Over the next couple of months, I had called Michael Pocolico and his associate Ellen. These calls seemed innocuous and honestly pretty helpful. It was mainly questions about my safety and whether I had needs met at the place I was staying at. Towards the end of my stay at my friend's place, I had witnessed a traumatic event and was already in a bad place mentally. Michael took note of this and decided to push me to leave Georgia and move back to Virginia. Michael and Ellen, along with a Saudi lawyer named Bader, met me at a train station. I was taken to a hotel and allowed to experience DC. I genuinely was optimistic and believed this could work. God, I wish I wasn't so fucking stupid. Hold on, I need to hack into the mainframe again. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Soda. I just had to be sure again. I'm not sure where you're coming from, but I do appreciate you. Thank you. At this point, the only person in that group that I was in contact with was Bader, the Saudi lawyer. Bader, throughout this entire time, in his weird way, tried to get me to detransition. First, he pampered me. He got me an apartment temporarily. He took me out to eat. He took me to therapists. But over time, the more conversations I had with him in person, the more I realized what he was trying to do. He tried to get me to be normal. Gave me examples of feminine men and said they are transgender but are hiding it, that it's better to hide it. Gave me examples of feminine men and said they are transgender but are trying to hide it. That's better to hide it. Told me stories personally about people he knew that successfully hid it. Repeated constantly that I can just hold two lives, the female me and the male me. Constantly said I looked like a man. Always talked down on my appearance. Bought me masculine clothing and tried to throw away all of my feminine clothing. At every step of the way, he tried to detransition me. I had a breakdown over this and bombarded Michael Pocolico and Ellen with texts about what was happening. They did not respond. I did not realize fast enough what was happening because I'm fucking stupid. At a certain point, I realized I was entirely dependent on Beta for food and shelter, and that if I ran away, he could easily find my location. And since I was illegal, undocumented, if I remember correctly, I believe Eden was overstaying her visa. I would have just been deported to Saudi. I subconsciously gave up. I was too tired. I did everything he asked. I cut my hair. I stopped taking estrogen. I changed my wardrobe. I met my dad. And then I had another breakdown. My mom kept telling me to repent or I was going to hell. And I did. I repented. I believed I was going to hell so much that I read the entire Quran front to back in a couple of days, crying the entire fucking time about what a disgusting thing I am. And I didn't sleep. I repented and I was broken. Bader then booked a flight back to Saudi. And I came back. Eden was forcefully detransitioned. I don't really need to get into the ethics of conversion therapy. I don't really need to get into the ethics of forcibly detransitioning somebody. This detransitioning is a fate worse than death. This is undescribable hell that I really have no words for, that I can't even begin to fathom. The first month was fine. Okay, even. I was on edge the entire time, but I was treated like I was going to run away at any second by my family. And then came the second month. At this point, I was subjected to daily searches of my belongings. My mom searched all of my electronics whenever she got the chance. I was berated for being a freak when my mom found my private photos. My dad called me a failure and an abomination. I was told that Michael, Ellen, and Bader were actually all specifically hired to get me back and that there was no escape from my situation. I was destroyed, but I wanted to keep going. See, Eden's dad is not just some guy. Eden's dad, if I remember correctly, is a government official. We'll be looking into it a little bit more later. Being forcibly detransitioned by your very, very powerful Saudi family, Saudi royalty family, genuinely horrible. Being met with just an innate lack of empathy from your family after you come out is one thing. That is a fight that I certainly don't want to have. That is heartbreak beyond compare, and this is the level of existential horror being felt from being in such a trapped situation is terrifying. See, trans people don't kill themselves if not only they seek and are given gender-affirming care, but if they are allowed to socially transition as well. Even if those individuals who seek and receive gender-affirming care go through with that successfully, if their environment around them does not allow them to transition, you can't blame them for not being happy with their lives. After the first time they found my HRT, it was traumatizing, but I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to live if I couldn't transition. And the second time after that, I took a break off HRT and got back on it. They found my HRT again, and I am done fighting. I wasn't always a good or even decent person. At times I was a fucking asshole and a disgusting human being. But there were times I feel like I was good. I don't understand why I was given this life with these circumstances. Every day hurts. Every second stings. Tried killing myself in the past, but every single time I was holding on by a thread somewhere deep inside me. I think that's why I survived them. This time I'm done. I'm tired. Message to the people I love. To my friends, to the people I chose to be my family, to my girlfriend, to everyone who has shown me kindness in this life, I sincerely thank you. You made an unbearable existence bearable at times. I am deeply sorry I have disappointed you all. I wish things were different. I wish this message was about how I won, how I escaped and built a successful life, how I managed to get FFS, SRS, and beat my dysmorphia. I wish I was speaking to you about how proud I am of myself and have done the impossible. That's not my reality. I wish this world wasn't so fucking comically cruel. I am laughing writing this sentence. It's unironically ridiculous how bad my luck has been this past couple of weeks. Someone just walked past my car and glanced at me. I wondered if they know I'm going to kill myself. Jesus. I wonder what they would think about me if they knew who I actually was. I wanted to be a leader for people like me, but that wasn't going to happen. I hope the world gets better for us. I hope our people get old. I hope we get to see our kids grow up and fight for us. I hope for trans rights worldwide. Oh, okay. How are we feeling, chat? I feel like it was at least respectful to read that ending. Now, see, as tragic as this is, this has received no shortage of attention. See, Eden in her own right and death, a Twitter shitposter, has become something of a national rallying cry for trans rights everywhere. I wanted to look a little bit into Michael Pocolico. Oh, that is genuinely some of the worst coffee I've made. Michael Nicholas Pocolico is an American businessman and writer. See, this is the person that was contacted by Eden's dad. Pocolico is the managing director and chief executive officer of the Monticello Capital, a boutique investment bank in Chantilly, Virginia, specializing in high technology and green enterprises. He is a Sarbanes-Oxley Public Company Audit Committee financial expert and corporate board audit committee chairman. He wrote some books. Early life, this is where things get a little funky. Pocolico was born in Pennsylvania, somewhere. Okay. His father, Walter Pocolico, was the business manager of public school districts in Bethlehem, Sharon, Antietam, and Bangor, and a local Democratic political figure. His mother, Anna M. Pocolico, was an office manager for the brokerage firm of Janie Montgomery Scott. His parental grandparents were Ukrainians who immigrated to Canada and then the United States. His maternal grandparents were Hungarians who arrived in the United States at Ellis Island. If I remember correctly, his grandparents were Ukrainians that sided with the Nazis to fight off the Soviets, and then the Nazis didn't like them and chased them out to America. See, I assume that the Hitler particles were just passed down, you know. A very concentrated strain of Hitler particles were passed down into this one man. The security group that was plaguing Eden's life is these guys. Spec Inv. Their portfolio is really weird. See, look, they're woke. Me Too Federal, a comprehensive, wide-ranging, culture-disrupting, spec-inv investigation probe sexual misconduct, harassment, assault, failure to report, executive leadership failure, and the establishment of a hostile work environment in a major federal organization. SI's investigators were reported directly and independently to the Cabinet's agency's general counsel. The investigation and its expansive report with accountability and recommendations never leaked. Global corruption, CEO, the fraudster, whistleblower, vaccination, fraud in the court, Leo misconduct. Yeah. Yeah, these guys, if I remember correctly, are Gulf War veterans who were given just infinite access to classified material. And these were the people who constantly had tabs on Eden Knight. Being forced to detransition, being rejected by your family, again, is one thing. This is genuinely a terrifying life. And the freaks, unsurprisingly, the nanosecond this came out, who were joking about Eden's death, do not have an iota, a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the courage that she did. Friend of the show, Soaked and Left, put together a timeline. We will not be reading the whole thing, but for anybody curious, feel free. Merrick, as well, has put together a Google Doc, which has received a staggering almost 4 million views regarding and collecting this massive document with abduction details. I think that with this tragedy, and there's no shortage of reasons why I really wanted to go over this outside of respect for Eden Knight and for everything she's done, for the community that she's fostered. See, Eden Knight was an incredible shitposter, and posthumously a lot of her content has been released, and upon looking upon it, see, I never was really privy with Eden Knight. However, I do remember her incredible posts. Shit posters are genuinely just a blessing on us. Eden Knight fostered a pretty lovely community and has fostered a more uproarious and powerful and more wholesome one as well coming out of this. See, I normally, if we focus on every trans death that happens, we would be absolutely miserable. However, I do think that it's really important to understand that some 50 years ago, 60 years ago, this would be unparalleled. You know, if a trans woman in the 80s died, it would be unprecedented to see this outpouring of support. This is making national, international headlines. The Independent recently just wrote an article about it. Again, Merritt and Sucked on Left's documents are both receiving no shortage of traffic. I don't know about you. Hey, look, when I close my eyes in my final sleep, not to be down, but I highly doubt that I'll be seeing, and I highly doubt, to be honest, most of us will be seeing 4 million sets of eyes on us. The initial post, Eden's post, has, the last I checked, some 22 to 23 million views. The support is genuinely unparalleled and beautiful and deserves respect. See, I think it's important that we don't obsessively doom scroll over this, and that we give balance to the things that we pay attention to. And This is one of those instances where it's unfortunate, and there shouldn't have been good that comes out of this because this shouldn't have happened. But there is beauty, there is communal solidarity in this. Now, what can we do? Boy, what can we do? See, on stream, we always say be happy. You know, being queer, being genderqueer. Be happy. Surround yourself with people that love you unconditionally, that you are deserving of that love. Genuinely. And stay happy as a act of radical resistance. Outside of that, if you are being forced to detransition, things are looking pretty bleak within the United States. However, there is some good news. There are currently safe havens right now. Tim Walz, the governor of the state of Minnesota, is currently putting together provisions that would make Minnesota a refugee state, while also ensuring that gender-affirming care is a human right. Maryland, Ann Kaiser of Maryland is also, or had also, I should say, because this is from today, had also put together similar provisions which passed. I believe DC is doing the same thing as well. If there is any ability for you to leave, these are states that you should be looking at. Currently, right now, insofar as the fight, we have people like Senator Kavanaugh who are genuinely fighting to put off the harm put in through transphobic and genocidal bills. To my genderqueer community, to the queer community, and to everybody in chat, know that there are people fighting for you. Know that there are resources. And remember to do your best to occupy your thoughts with something other than the tragic news that comes out weekly. To Eden Knight, of course, rest in power. And to her loved ones, I hope that she is resting easy. And we continue the fight from here. How are we feeling, chat? Sag, be hopeful. Be radically optimistic where you can, and where you can't, fill that with an unprecedented fiery passion to make change so that this doesn't happen again. This is a very unique case. See, Eden Knight's story is empathetic. It is unsurprising why there has been an international outpouring of love and solidarity. However, it is not unique insofar as families disowning or forcibly detransitioning and killing their kids. when we look at gender-affirming care, we do this to protect kids. We do this to protect, not kids, we do this to protect people. It's not. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's brave or not. I think it's one of those things where if you were in Eden Knight's position, realistically, I wish it weren't the case, but you only have so much in the tank, you know? Mash buttons. It's incredibly important to be able to step away. Take up drawing or fishing or hiking. Again, surround yourself with people who love you. You know, we're all deserving of it. Yeah, oh God. I hope that this fight is inspiring enough to kind of continue the life and memory of Eden. And it's important that we keep this as a rallying cry. It's unfortunate that it comes on the backbone of such a lovely person's death, however.
Ha! That's cool.
Godrid from Russia. Oh my God, howdy. I hope you're doing well. You've come at an interesting time, but I do appreciate you being here all the same. Thank you. I'm glad that I didn't get any of those notifications during my segment. I should probably muted those beforehand, but I'm glad that... Yeah. I want everybody to remember this moving forward with future legislation regarding trans people. I hope that Eden Knight's life and her entirely preventable passing replays in the back of everyone's heads, and that we can all rally together for something better. For a world that Eden Knight would be proud of. Okay. Would anyone like to add anything else to this segment before we move on? Let me clear up my notes a little bit. I've started keeping stream notes to keep myself a little bit more organized. Sometimes it's hard to even find safety in the people that love us because of how deep the hate drags you. And being someone who hates having to depend on others, I understand that aspect of what some might consider a selfish act, unquestionably. Absolutely. Yeah. No one's alone. Absolutely not. If anything, we have fostered a lovely little community here of just some of the goofiest little goobers, I gotta say. Again, my principles are that we all inherently do right by each other, but we can do better, so let's get to it, all right? Absolutely. Absolutely, Soda. I always appreciate you being a voice of reason. Invariably, see, people are transitioning kind of at higher rates, right? As we are being able to communicate with others at a much more rapid and comprehensive rate with the expanse of technology. With this is inevitably going to be hitting senators, and by this I mean the tragic loss of life of their kids is going to be hitting senators and middle of nowhere Americans. And at that point, I feel like, unfortunately, predicated on the suffering of children, of their parents, of people, of their friends, of their partners and loved ones. Unfortunately, it is through their death, sorrow, their struggle that we will see change. And to propagate that, we need to maintain uplifting happiness, happy stories, trans happiness, and queer happiness. Absolutely. Love and solidarity, all of y'all. And just keep doing better. Yes, I am left-wing, Godred. However, this is not a leftist-only space, so... Soda, forcing people to go off drugs. Yes, we talked about that. Sorry, I missed your other message. SSRIs are sus, but places like Scientology try to make people quit cold turkey. That ain't safe. Oh, God, no. I can't speak to the effectiveness of SSRIs, SSNRIs, and everything. See, I have untreatable depression, and it was diagnosed as untreatable after years and years and years of a Skittles Rainbow's worth of medication. I quit cold turkey, and that fucked my brain up real bad. It's one of the many reasons I dropped out of college. I had brain zaps, stomach issues, like no shortage of health issues. I, would rather not go over on stream. But I mean, hey, if it works for people, that's great. I know people who they work for, and it's great. But over the pandemic, I was fortunate enough to diagnose myself for anxiety. Mostly just the physical symptoms, not being able to make eye contact with people, shaky hands, dropping stuff, poor sleep, all that stuff, and made a world of difference. Unfortunately, I ran out of medication recently, and I don't have the funds to get back on them. So hopefully soon, right? Teehee. Anyway, medication's a very subjective thing, especially hormones. Oh, God. Hormones fuck with your body so much. In the best way, again, this is very gender-affirming things, but it does genuinely change your body. Starting and stopping hormones, I couldn't even fathom going through a situation like that and having your body change so many times and your brain chemistry change so many times while going through that situation. While going through Eden Knight's situation. That is unparalleled strength. Holding out as long as she did. No one should have to be that strong when it comes down to it. What's the it's like when you're talking to a friend about something that hurt and they say, "Oh, well, you were so strong through it, and you came out with strength." I don't want to be strong. I want to be open and vulnerable and soft and loving. See, I think the real compliment is, despite that strength, in spite of that resilience, coming out with an open, warm, loving heart. I think that's a little bit more adequate terminology than we ought to start using. And up to and through death, it seems that was the case with Eden. Yeah, absolutely, Nova. If ever y'all need to take a break from stream, don't apologize, okay? It's to keep things short again. Surround yourself with loved ones, be happy, Use it as a rallying cry. Don't doom scroll. Please, dear God, log off occasionally. And yeah, this is always a loving environment. And make sure to maintain that. So. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you're so inclined, feel free to like and share the video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more. If you would like to join chat on stream, go pop on over to twitch.tv/CommieBravo. I hope to see you there.